Welcome back to the channel, everybody. So I wanted to put this idea out there, run it past you. In my mind, I've been thinking a long time, there's a great possibility that Ripple at some point in the future, I think a few of the Bankcoin companies, I think Stellar is in the conversation also, but I'll concentrate on Ripple right now because they just got clarity through the courts. They just won the case. I mean, things are going to be big, in my humble opinion. I think there's a great possibility of them growing in their power, their domination, their positioning, and then working with the US government. Now, I have a lot of thoughts as to how that may grow, how that might manifest, but I think I may have to cover that in another video. I'm going to keep this one on the shorter side today. I'm a little bit tired. But if they take thousands of banks in the US at some point, I don't know how long that'll take, but I think that they have a good possibility. If they were already at 300 to 400 banks a few years ago, if that was true, if that's accurate, and now you're starting to see the support of certain banks like Wells Fargo. I didn't even see that article where Wells Fargo is now going to be accepting payments in XRP. I mean, I have to verify that a little bit more, but I saw a few articles about that. That's eye-opening also. Why now, right? Why now? And that's a very good development, a very good show of support that XRP at some point is going to go mainstream. But wait, let me circle back around. If they become that dominant, if they become an integral layer that moves value around the world, once again, keep in mind that at one point a federal representative said that they may not need a CBDC. Now, it was always my interpretation that because of how the US government operates, sometimes they don't need to develop their own technologies. They don't need sandboxes. They just need the technology to be given to them by the companies who are at the forefront. They need to be handed infrastructure, handed technology. They sometimes they expect it. I believe that maybe they were waiting for Ripple to get in the clear so they could use Ripple technology. Now, I could be wrong for sure, but I could be right for sure. Right? There's a big possibility of that. Now, there are precedents, multiple precedents set of companies growing in power, growing in popularity, and then they work for the US government. They receive special contracts. Now, here's the thing about those special contracts. For the ones we can't actually uncover value for, that's just the value that they're paid. Now, if you're dealing with a company like Ripple, and we'll get into some numbers and some evidence in a moment. If you're dealing with a company like Ripple, not only do we have to take into account the value that they're being paid, right? Because that can be moved through the XRPL, through XRP systems. And of course, because Ripple brings in a certain amount and then they redistribute it sometimes for certain projects, which if you reallocate funds to certain projects and those projects become successful, you see a return on that investment. They bring in more value than what you put into them, and that goes right back into your pocket. Of course, the timelines can vary on that, but that is the truth nonetheless. So not only is there that, but as a mover of value, if they receive certain contracts from the government, how much value will they be moving? What are the projects that they're going to be working on? If they actually delve into the traceability aspect, which is something we covered a while back, and I believe it's something that some representatives from Ripple have spoken on before, that traceability will also come in handy when it comes to government or military spending. Now, that military spending is astronomical. And not only that, but the audits, I think that they could play a huge hand in the audits. Now, we covered this for years of how, for example, no disrespect to the Pentagon, but they lose countless billions of dollars and they just claim it goes poof. Well, there's powers within the system that don't want that anymore. Things like that. Now, let me give you some examples to set a precedent, show you this has happened before. Now, I use Perplexity AI to ask these questions, and that's this is one of my go-to AIs when I want to do a little bit deeper research than just Google. Typically, I use Google, but it says this. several companies have grown large and subsequently worked with or for the U.S. government in modern times. Here is a list of some notable examples. And listen, if you get those governmental contracts, that's guaranteed money. That's guaranteed that you're going to be a success long into the future and be much bigger than what people anticipate. First company is SpaceX. Of course, it was founded by Elon Musk. SpaceX secured billions of dollars in government contracts. Now, if you apply billions of dollars in government contracts to Ripple, that equates to moving value. How much? Are we talking trillions? Is that going to scale into quadrillions per year? Are they going to become an upper layer for the system that includes SWIFT? Will they partner with SWIFT? I mean, they all work with the government. They all follow the orders. Why would that not happen? So superimpose that on Ripple and then ask yourself about how much value they could move if they receive government contracts. That's one company. Let's keep going. Of course, we have this other company here, Amazon. I remember way back when Amazon was nothing. They just delivered books. It was like a book company in the beginning. And then it was sort of like the first version of Temu or Shein, if you know those companies. For a long time it was, and they didn't see a profit for a long time. Now look at Amazon. It says Amazon Web Services, a subsidiary of Amazon, has been awarded significant contracts with the U.S. government, including a notable $10 billion cloud computing contract with the Department of Defense. I think that Ripple stands a good chance, now that they're in the clear, of working with a lot of these departments, DOD, Homeland Security, etc. This is known as the Joint Enterprise Defense Infrastructure JEDI contract. Although this contract, it says, was later canceled. That's okay. We just need to set a precedent that this is what happens when companies are huge and they're at the forefront of their class. Ripple is, XRP is, the XRPL is out front. That's why they're getting a big push everywhere now. Like I said, you heard what Wells Fargo is doing, and then you also get this push from Binance US out of nowhere. Not really out of nowhere, but they're getting a push now. They're out front. They're in the clear. Another company that got big and began working, or not got big, became big and began working with the US government, Microsoft. Similar to Amazon, Microsoft has also engaged in substantial contracts with the US government. Let's continue on here. I just want to get all of these out of the way, give you all this evidence that this is where things could be headed. And like I said, I believe Stellar would be in a conversation, and Algorand also. Stellar and Algorand have great relationships in the US with state and federal government. But people forget about that. I haven't. I'm still with them. I still not with them. Like, I don't know these people. I don't work with them. But I mean, like, I'm still an enthusiast of them. I'm still a holder of their coins. So Boeing is another one. All right. I think we all knew that. And then, of course, last but certainly not least, Lockheed Martin. Oh, I know a lot about Lockheed Martin. I know some people that work at Lockheed Martin. Very interesting stuff there. And of course, they're receiving billions of dollars. But let me give you some amounts just to show you. I'm going to give you this accurate information. So SpaceX, this was in 2021 alone, was awarded $2.9 billion for the Artemis lunar landing project. $2.9 billion. Let's keep it going. Amazon. What year was this? Oh, they don't have a year on it, but it was for the Joint Enterprise Defense Infrastructure JEDI contract. It was initially valued at $10 billion. Keep in mind, not only would Ripple deploy or provide infrastructure, but would also consistently be moving value. So there's those sprinkles on top. People can't forget about that. Now, we're just talking about potentiality. Of course, it's not guarantees. I don't want anyone to take it that way. No, but I deal in a lot of potentiality, try to exercise foresight, utilization of deductive reasoning to, sort of gain a vision of what the future is going to be. That's really what we're doing here. We're doing a lot of detective work. That's what research is. We're detectives. Welcome to the club. So Amazon, $10 billion. Okay. Microsoft, now Microsoft, they couldn't give me a number on that. So be it. We can assume it's in the billions. That's been the consistency. Now, Boeing in 2022 alone received approximately $23.1 billion in governmental contracts. And then, of course, Lockheed Martin, this was in 2022 alone, received $39.2 billion. So now that we have established that these are pretty substantial amounts in governmental contracts, and I think that this will go, the values will go far beyond what the initial contracts are written for, because once again, with XRP and with XRPL's purpose, even with the stablecoin involved, we're going to be moving tons and tons of value consistently every single day. It's not like these projects here is a one and done thing, or, you know, many one and done projects all together. No, with XRPL, there's a consistency to it. So that's that. And then also just establishing that when these companies become powerful and they're at the forefront once again, typically they begin working with the US government. So things could get serious very quickly, especially they've continued the verbiage of they want to convince the people that they're not working on a CBDC. They're not working on digital infrastructures, even though they've learned and consistently kept in contact with Stellar. 1. 2, they've consistently worked with Algorand and Maiden Labs out of MIT. That's 2. And 3, they've had a great relationship and consistent relationship with Ripple. Faster Payments Task Force, Faster Payments Council, Brad Garlinghouse, as well as from Ripple, and Danelle Dixon from Stellar were at that recent meeting with whatever that politician was. And that's not taking into account the other meetings that they have where it's not publicized. You know, I know there's a few politicians, once they've been at these panels with the Bankcoin CEOs and COOs, they've said, hey, listen, we like to talk to them a little bit later. That's what they said. That's on video. And I'm quite sure that they did. So I think that, I think things are going to be way bigger than people anticipate. I know I say that quite often because it's the truth. If you're on the right path, a lot of times that right path, you find other paths, they all lead the same way. They all lead to the same conclusion. I think things are going to be much bigger than people anticipate. They're dealing with something that has never been done before. It's never existed before. This is in addition to RWA, real world asset tokenization. This is in addition to moving the value for interbank payments, trillions of dollars, possibly. Even if you take a little piece of that, that's going to be significant. I mean, this is in addition to many, many powerful things. So I just wanted to put that on your table there. I hope you all are doing well out there. I hope you're safe out there. Okay. And now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, everybody, let's get to the money.